Welcome. For some reason, I haven't got audio. So, consider it a learning curve for videotaping with this camera. I usually used a microphone on it, so I didn't do that while I was out on the water. But I figured I'd take this moment to go over the Crixus Armor X and the Royale Select Extra Heavy rod. Now, in these two things, I have really a couple things on both. I didn't know that extra heavy mean that it was extra heavy. So the rod itself is pretty heavy. And so what I'm using it for, and it's designed for flipping, pitching, and punching. So since I don't do a lot of that, especially right now, I was doing walking baits and very large diving baits, because this is rated from 1/4 ounce to 2 ounces, the rod itself. And because of that, my wrist got tired of using the rod because it was noticeably a heavier rod than the other rods that I use, like the Resolute, which you'll see later in this video. I have no complaints with the rod whatsoever besides its weight. So it performed really, really well. It casted really well the heavy weights that I was using on it. But when it came to walking a pencil lure up on top of the water, it got really tiring. So I will not be using this for that. Excuse me. As for the reel itself, I threaded this reel with 20-pound Kovert. So this is more of a review of the Kovert 20-pound on this reel, because the reel itself, as soon as I was able to dial it in, it casted really far and it did really well. The problem with it was the line on it. So I will be moving from the Kovert line over to the power braid, the braided line on it. The Kovert line at 20 pounds showed a lot of memory to it, and so as it was wrapped around the reel itself, it would unspool itself like a spring, and it didn't backlash, but it would unspool itself like a spring on it. And maybe that'll fix itself in time, but I'm not going to give it that time. So I'm going to remove it from my reel and put braid on it. And the Extremist braid actually is the braid I'm going to be putting on it. And it'll be a 15-pound braid. So as for the Kovert 20-pound, I found an issue with. Now, with the Kovert 6 and 8-pound, I do not have an issue with that. It's not that thick. It does not have the memory that the 20-pound does. And so on my Resolute, I have the 8-pound Kovert line. And it's a pure fluorocarbon line. If you've never used it before, it's a fantastic line. It really is. But on my Resolute, it was wonderful. I had no issues with it whatsoever. But the 20-pound is really thick fluorocarbon. And I think that's where my reel had a problem with it on the bait caster, because it just exploded over and over and over again. And finally, it started to settle down a little bit, so it probably will in time settle down. But I'm not that patient. So the reel itself was really, really well. I love the clicking on the tension knob, because on heavier baits, I had to really dial it in, and it's probably because of the line itself, the Kovert. But I couldn't. I had to adjust that tension really tight, and the tension knob is really for the beginning of the cast, because what ended up happening, as soon as I hit the thumb bar, that Kovert line would want to explode on my line, on my reel. and it was like a spring letting loose on it. So little hiccups. The rod itself, a little heavier physically than I'm used to. I'm used to very light rods, but that probably comes with that, extra heavy durability of the rod itself. So I was probably using it for the wrong thing on top water. But if I'm going to be flipping and pitching and punching, you would usually use it for jigging your rigs, your jigs down underneath pads and stuff like that. So a little uncomfortable about that. So I'm going to be using it for my deep divers, and I might use it for flipping, pitch, and punching. But I probably won't be using it for frogging because, again, frogging is a lot like pencil lures and walking, because you walk a frog, very similar. And my wrists just are not that strong, I guess. My arms are the only good thing that I got left on my body. So that's why I paddle. So I don't understand it. This is just the first day out on Shasta Lake. So I'm hoping that with more and more use of the Royale Select rod and finding its sort of niche in my fishing habits, the restreaking my Armor X, which is, I have no problem with the reel itself. It did really, really well. Like I said, the problem was not the reel. The problem was the memory on the 20-pound Kovert line. So anyway, that's me taking a sip because I was cramping up. my hand was cramping, using this rod. So I had to hydrate, and my hand was cramping. So now I'm going over to the Resolute on it. So I'm going to go and narrate that section of the video now. So thank you. I hope this gives you a little bit of insight on the Royale Select extra heavy rod, the Armor X, which performed really, really well, and the Kovert 20-pound, not the lighter stuff. All right, so now you see me just sort of going. Kind of was a little long-winded on the other one, but the Resolute, over and over and over and over again, I have given you guys my opinion on the Resolute rod as well as the Valiant Eagle reels. They are my favorite. When it comes to a setup, they probably, it's light, it's sensitive, it performs really, really well as a pair. Now, my favorite reel so far is the Spartacus Plus, and I do really, really well, and I've had it the longest. So the Resolute rod that I have is a medium heavy, and it is a two-piece. It works really well, very sensitive. I can feel everything on it. So do not sway away from a two-piece as opposed to a one-piece, not in this regard. It does very, very well. The IM7 blank is probably, it's fantastic. So hats off to kastking for that. And the Valiant Eagle reels, spinning reels, incredible. The American microwave air guides, absolutely phenomenal. I personally think they shouldn't even have any other guides on their spinning rods. The American tackle guides are absolutely award-winning, and I think they got, they've won multiple awards, so they really very, very well. The day itself is beautiful. You look at the day. That's me. That's my inhaler. Yeah. Yeah, I suck in on oxygen every once in a while too. I got my oxygen generator strapped to the back of my seat, so so it's readily handy. Why you may ask me why I kayak? Well, because when you paddle and kayak, it's a step in time. You go backwards a little bit, and there's a primitive notion that you're exploring, and that's the beautiful thing about it. Now, mind you, I do have a fish finder on my kayak, and the reason I've got the outriggers on it, which are yak gear, those outriggers help me stay stable. I have a blood clot in my brain that is inoperable, and that has affected my equilibrium. I can't even really stand up on boats, so without falling off, which I have. When I was getting into this boat, my kayak, on this day, yesterday, that I fell off and I fell into the water. So I need the outriggers. Now, most people can stand up on this, Moken 12.5 just fine. It's got a stand-up assist strap to it. I mean, it's a really nice kayak. 35 inches wide, 12 and a half feet long. I get compliments every time I go out on it. Yesterday was no different. So right there, I'm using my Spartacus Plus reel on my Pro Equalizer 2 Bass Pro Shop rod, which is a very good rod, very good. I would make it comparable to the Resolute, but not the Resolute, sort of a cross between the Resolute and the Royale Select. And because it's very light, but it's not an extra heavy, so I can't really fling the large baits that I want to throw out there. That's why I got the Royale Select rod. But again, I'm going to have to find that sort of sweet spot in the way I fish on that. But I can cast the Spartacus Plus. I mean, it's a $40 reel. It's in the $40 price point. You can't do better, I think, for the money than the Spartacus Plus. And remember, it's a Spartacus Plus. This is one with a dual braking system, centrifugal as well as magnetic. Now, I found that the magnets, I actually played with the Armor X, and I cranked it, and you don't get backlash, but you ain't gonna get very far. That's for sure. Those brakes are so good that as soon as it gets out to the apex, bam, I mean, it's like putting your thumb on it. So if you're really good at feathering with your thumb, which you will get good as you practice bait casting, you can cast anything. You really can. So I was very impressed with the Royale Select when I was able to back it off some, and the thing just cast a mile. It really did. So, but yeah, that's me. I'm looking at the fish down below. What I was seeing on my fish finder, everybody said go to the bottom and go slow. It's on the bottom and go slow, but what I was seeing on my fish finder was a lot of suspended fish. So I'm thinking that the inversion is about to flip on Shasta Lake. So even though the bass may be on the bottom and the trout up on top, I think it's about the lake is about to flip. The water was 49 degrees, so it wasn't real warm at all. So that's why the inversion's still there. So, but give it some time. I mean, it was 73 degrees out yesterday. It'll be 70 degrees down there today. And I did lose my my reading glasses on this trip in the lake. I don't know. I think I know the cove it was. I dropped them in. I don't know. But you're going to see me reach around and try to adjust my anchor. And I think that's when I lost my glasses. So this is just a shot of me looking, very dramatic shot. Kind of like it. Silhouette. Probably record that for posterity because you can't see if it's really me, so my ugliness isn't in there. And But yeah, it's not a bad shot with the sun behind me, huh? Yeah, it's an accidental shot. I'm not that good of a videographer just because I don't have any sound on any of these things. So, yeah, I used to be pretty smart when it came to video and stuff. I used to do video productions, and I don't know, maybe my brain has just gotten a little weak in the brain cells. So this is but yeah, that's just a day out on the lake. And there's not a bad day when you're out on the water. You just can't have a bad day. So, switching rods back over to the Resolute Valiant Eagle combo. So I'm using a Ned rig on that one with rabid baits. So I must have saw something on the bottom, and so I'm throwing that out there trying to get something to bite, but I was unable to get that to happen. Again, it's brand new lake for me, and I just couldn't figure it out yesterday. So I gotta adjust that vest, huh? My vest is sitting way too high. So this is me deep in thought. Think. Look up to the sky. I'm a better fisherman than this. There's the fish. Why can't I get them to bite? So I went to Finesse Worms. I went to, the Ned rig, creature baits, chatter baits. Just try to work those fish, especially the suspended fish. Some of them were sitting pretty high, 7 or 8 feet, below the surface. And so that's why I tried to get some shallow divers, square bill cranks, or even some topwater walking lures, just to try to coax them back up to the surface and see if I can get them to strike it. But I tried lots of different techniques and baits in order to get this. But you can see how much I like the Resolutes. And I love bait casting, don't get me wrong. But there's something about this Resolute. Now, the Resolute combos are in Academy. So I want you guys, if you have an Academy Sports near you, I want you to go there and pick it up and actually see and feel what I feel when I use this. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Like and subscribe, please. You can see my little animation that I put in the lower right corner for you, and for you to subscribe. If you hit the little icon in the lower right, I think it's yellow, you can just hit subscribe there. So, or just go down below and hit to subscribe too. So, but it is just a very pretty day. Here I just went ahead and threw in some footage of me casting. You'll see the bait hitting the water here, and hopefully trying to get you guys to see what I was hoping to do is catch a fish, especially topwater action. I just working the topwater. That's the front of my Moken 12.5 fill-free kayak. Those little black things up on the front is rod tip protectors. So, but yeah, this is me working the topwater. Just trying to get those fish to come up. I use the Livingston too, because it emits a sound. I figured that might help pull them up, and for a second I watched the fish come up to it, but they just didn't want to get it. They stopped short. So I think the Livingston, that sound that they emit works. It just didn't work enough when I was out on the lake. So, But you can see my line out there. I'm casting and trying to get a reaction bite. I was seeing them about 7 or 8 feet below the surface at this point. I was trying to get them to come up to my bait and hit it. I was seeing some bass jump, hitting the surface on the lake. So I was hoping that I can capitalize off of it. This is the cove I actually lost my glasses in, I think. So, kind of stunk. So then I was running blind, basically. And they're basically strong reading glasses. And when you're fishing and trying to thread and tie things and change baits and stuff like that, that's pretty important. So, I don't know. I just think I was anchored here and you're that's me working the water though. Basically I start to work it like a clock. You know, I hit at 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and I go round and round and round and try to work the entire area. And before I think about changing tactics, I might try it slow, I might try it fast, I might try it erratically, depending on what I'm throwing. And in a video on how to catch a fish, I tell you if big isn't working, go small, and that's what I ended up doing. I started going with small baits and lures because I wasn't getting anything on the bigger stuff. And it just wasn't, I just didn't get it done yesterday. And you come up with days like that, so that's when those are the days that you just enjoy the moment. So don't be discouraged by getting skunked on a day, because those days are going to happen. I mean, even the best of fishermen can go out and not get it, and they have those days where they can't catch anything. And they try everything, or they catch one thing. And, it's just, and those are professionals. So it happens. So don't let that discourage you. When I named this channel Terrible at Fishing, I got to the point to where I got past discouragement to figuring out I'm pretty proud of it. But I do catch a lot of fish. And this was a brand new lake. And when you're in a brand new lake that you've never been in, you have a hard time figuring it out. And that really is. In the lakes that I have figured it out, I catch a lot of fish. And so just keep fishing. It's like, what is that one TV or the cartoon movie, Meet the Robinsons? Just keep pressing forward. That's when you're drifting towards the bank. And you'll see me push off here in a second. I was really working that line right there because there's a drop off. So I was hoping I could get them to come up to it. This lake is fairly deep, 100 feet. The cliffs really do drop off quick in this lake, and so you see that ledge just on the left of your screen, and then it disappears. So a lot of times right there on that slope, the bass will be sitting there in order to ambush prey. So that's what I was trying to do, trying to get them to come up and ambush what I was throwing. All right. Now we're about to switch into another scene, I think. Now, personally, I don't know how people turn around in kayaks, even as stable as my kayak is, but I gotta lose some weight. I mean, I say it all the time. My medication makes me gain weight, and I fight it, and plus I can't breathe, so exercising is very tough. So here's my Resolute setup. Again, you can see that microwave guide right at the very first one. Makes a huge difference to it. So I want to sort of get a nice shot of the Valiant Eagle, or what's called an Emerald Eagle. They don't make that one anymore, I don't think. But the Resolute combo has a lot like the Emerald Eagle. I mean, it's green accented Valiant Eagle based reel. So wonderful. The bail on it is green, which is kind of cool. Something that my Emerald Eagle isn't. And if you go to Academy, check this thing out. I mean, it is a really, really hot combo. And if you buy it, you will not regret it. I mean, the combo of the Resolute combo, best all-around rod that you could possibly buy. You will always use it. Doesn't matter. You'll take it out, you will always use this rod. I mean, you just can't go wrong. I have the 3000 reel on this too, by the way. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe and like. Thank you very much for watching my videos.